Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. We've got another lighting kit. This one is also from AliExpress. This one is, I believe, KYRC. So, I'm going to show you how to set it up on Pro. I'm going to run through just the basic setup on this one. I'm going to show you how you'd connect it to a 4-channel receiver and see what functionalities we get that way. And yeah, let's see what KYRC can do with a lighting kit. So first off, let's have a look what we get in this lighting kit. It is an incredibly compact box. So we do get some instructions. Just tells us basics of setting it up, but we don't read them, do we? So we have one set of LEDs. And what's quite nice about these for routing in the body shell, they're actually all fastened together. So if you want to, you can separate them as much or as little as you need. And it looks like all but the indicators or side repeaters are 5mm, and then these are 3mm, just for the side indicators. So we get one set of them. I'm guessing they are, yeah, probably rear, they've got brake lights in them. So we get two sets of them. We then get a further two sets of fronts. So we've got, on each one of these, we've got 3 5mm and then 2 3mm indicators or side repeaters. We get a tiny little control unit, and takes all the guesswork out of this. So we basically got turn, fog, headlight and DRL, and then DRL, head, fog and turn, and then brake, reverse, fog and turn, turn, fog, reverse and brake. And then you've got two more outputs, and basically what these are is just switched outputs from whatever voltage you are feeding this with. So it doesn't do any voltage regulation on these outputs, but you can plug extra LEDs into them should you need them, or use them to switch a channel. So we then also get this little thing that may or may not make your life easier. So basically what this is how you connect it to your receiver and your channels. So we've got channels 1, 2 and 3, so it'll be steering, throttle and auxiliary. And it takes its power from channel 1. And then you've got the inputs on here, so the pass-throughs for channel 1, 2 and 3. Quite nice that we get a pass-through on channel 3, which you don't usually get. You usually only get the pass-throughs for channel 1 and 2. So if you are using channel 3 as an auxiliary switch to switch these lights or whatever other functionality it has, nice to see that you don't actually lose that channel on your receiver. You do get an extension with this. So this cable is used to get you the extra length you need to get to this box. There are different plugs and it'll only go in one way, so it shouldn't be too bad setting this up. And just give it a gentle poke, make sure it's down all the way. But one thing this should make your life easier, if this part is fastened to your RC near your receiver and this part is fastened to your body shell, then all you have to do to disconnect it is just that one plug, and you can take your body shell off with all your wiring and you're just left with that on your RC. So quite nice that to control everything we've just got one plug. So bearing in mind on here you're going to have DRLs, fog lights, reverse lights, everything, and the only bit that's going to remain on your actual car is the bottom bit. So that's quite nice. Let's have a look at how these plug in then. So it shouldn't be too bad to plug these in. It looks like if we have them that way, you can see with the legend where it says turn is going to be your orange sort of wire. And again, I just carefully push these down. So on this side, turn is to the top, so they should go in quite easy. And next turn has turned to the top again, but these have got the red wire in. And then turn to bottom again. So yeah, quite like the way this is set up. It's not difficult to work out which wire goes where or which way ramp plugs go. But that's got our absolute mess of wires connected. But if you're laying this in a body shell, a lot easier to route these than all separate wires. So I am liking that idea. Next, we're going to have to get a receiver. So for this one, I'm going to be using the INR4 GYB, but it could be any 4-channel receiver you like. And then first off, we got to find channel 1 and look at which way round it wants us to put them in. So channel 1, then channel 2, then channel 3, and then finally we get onto this little bit. So we've got channel 1 for a steering, signal pin on channel 1, top left. Then we're going to need our speed controller. So for this, I'm just going to use a very basic one that comes with Tamiya kits, if I can get switch to stay where it needs to be. So on this will be as channel 2, and then purely just to show if we're getting any throughput from channel 3, I'm going to plug a servo into channel 3. So we need to get a motor. So I'll just connect that so you can see if we get any movement. And then all we're going to need to do now is power up as transmitter. Let's go to a spare model memory. And I'm just going to fully reset this model memory. Channel definitions, make sure it's on 4. And then I'm just going to go to bind menu, bind set, leave it as enhanced. So now we need some power. I'm going to press and hold the bind button and power on. And then start as bind.
Binding successful.
So we just bound, we've not changed anything. So we've got throttle, we've got brake. And I do like how we only get reverse lights when we're actually reversing. So when we brake, no reverse lights. Then we reverse, we get reverse lights. Let's separate these a bit so you can see the difference between headlights and brake lights and everything else. So whenever the motor's spinning backwards, we get in reverse. We do get lights come on when we start accelerating. We get brake lights when we brake. We do get turn signals. So, as set up straight out the box, for some reason we've got a white light that's on all the time on as rear light set. But you can split this off, so let's have a look what it says that white light is. Fog lights, apparently. But on as front lights, we've got a light on all time and one when we accelerate. When we brake, we get a brake light. When we reverse, we get a reverse light. So you could use the coloured lenses to change the colour of these. I'm just not sure why that is on all the time. So looking at it, that'd be fog light. So the fog light's on all the time, which is a bit of a strange one. Get that the reverse lights work as reverse. The turn signals work as turn signals, so that's fine. But let's see if we have any other functionality. So see if we can turn these fog lights off or change what the headlights do. So to control these, we need to get control of channel 3. So I'm going to go into auxiliary. I'm going to change the control of this to the button on the actual grip. So let's see what we get if I get a backlight and a front light. Try and keep these separate for you. So we need to change what that's doing. So we want it from turn to trigger. I think that'll work better. So one press, we got hazards. Next press, we get everything flashing. Press it again. Back to having as normal headlight, DRLs and reverse. So that's brought the headlights on. Headlights off. That's put DRLs on all time. DRLs off. Hazards on. Hazards off. That's full flashing. Then back to normal. And I think these two are external light on, external light off. So then we're back to headlights on, headlights off, driving lights on, driving lights off, indicators, and then everything flashing. Yeah, not sure why the fog lights are on constantly, but yeah, you can either use them on the back as extra lights, or you can split these off and run them to front and use them as extra headlights. Not sure what mode you're going to want it to drive in, because we've got lights that come on when we go forward and we've got lights that come on when we go back. But definitely a lot of functionality. And then when we turn, we do get our indicators working. So this is the basic 4-channel setup of it. Now I just left this plugged in to channel 3 just to show you, but it does trigger that every time you press it. So when we're changing modes, it does trigger this. So if you want to run another light that's got its own built-in switch, you can connect that into channel 3 and you can still have channel 3 changing the modes of it. Now it would be nice if it synced up and it matches what these are doing, but then you've also got the output from the actual light controller itself. So you've got 2 outputs from this, 2 positives, 2 negatives, that when you press this button and cycle through, you can trigger those lights to come on as well. And if I had some more lights that were right voltage, I'd show you. But the voltage coming out of that is going to be the voltage coming out your BEC. So you just need to make sure whatever you put into here, they can cope with the 5, 6 or 7.4 volt that your BEC is running. But yeah, nice little basic kit, quite easy to set up, and you just need auxiliary channel setting up to cycle through. It's pretty tidy. You don't have to use the backlights as the rear fog lights, you don't have to have them. You can separate them off from these if you wanted and have them as extra driving lights, or on a rock crawler have them as rear rock lights if you wanted. On the front we've got headlights that come on when we drive, or DRLs. I'm not sure which it's saying they are. See if I can follow it. Ah, that makes sense. So basically the lights that are on all the time are listed on front and rear as fog light. Then you've obviously got your turn. The next one is reverse light on the rear, and on the front it's saying they're headlights. And then when we switch modes, they're what it lists as DRLs. So we've got them listed as DRLs. They're fog lights, and the headlights are only on when it's going forward. Not sure if I'm a fan of that, but you can wire these up or move these around in your RC however you see fit. But yeah, interesting little light kit. Plenty of uses for it, and hopefully that'll make sense how we've got this wired. Your channels 1, 2 and 3 that would go to your receiver go to this little block, and then channels 1, 2 and 3 come out here into there, and it basically just runs the same as any other. And if you're not wanting your turn signals to come on when you're turning, then what I would do is set the transmitter exactly the same as what I did on my last video for LEDs. In fact, what I'll try and do, let's see if I can get it focused on the actual transmitter. So for me, what I like to do for more realistic turn signals, you'd take your steering servo from channel 1. You would then connect channel 1 from the light kit, move it over to channel 4. Then take your steering servo and plug it into channel 1 on your actual receiver. Then let's see if I can get focused on the actual transmitter itself. So for me, what I like to do to get the turn signals working correctly, we've got as RC all connected. We've now got our steering servo plugged directly into channel 1. I've moved channel 1 from the lighting kit to channel 4. So then I like to go onto the transmitter. We want to go into auxiliary, channel 4. Set the control of it to SW2 and 3. So we want it set to combined. Then we want it set to 3 position. Function, we want it as channel 4. And we want it as turn. And then basically what we should be able to do is, if I find which are as indicators or turn signals, so what we should be able to do is indicate one way, indicate other way, or cancel. So I'd think that is more realistic because you've still got your steering, and then if you want to actually indicate, you can indicate. and if they're on the wrong side you can just switch your lights over. Or I believe if we go in here and then that one, then that one, we could reverse it. So then it'll make the opposite ones come on by pressing the opposite button. But for me, it's just nice to be able to put an indicator on and cancel it. We've still got all the other functionality. Brake lights, reverse lights. Personally, I think I'd use fog lights as headlights, and then I'd have these lights that come on just as the fog lamps or spot lamps. But yeah, other than that, I think it's all pretty cool. It's a pretty good light kit, pretty easy to cycle through modes. And it is nice that we've got the auxiliary switched out on here. That's controlled by the third channel. But that's just a kind of a basic way of setting it up, and a way that I think or feel that the indicators or turn signals work better. I'm just not a big fan of them working off the actual wheel itself. I'd rather it be, we've got enough channels even on a 4-channel receiver. But yeah, let's wrap this one up. So there we have it, the KYRC light kit on the Flysky. This one's the NB4 Pro Plus, but pretty much everything I've done on this, you can just set it up and you get full control at light kit. And we've got brake lights, reverse lights and fog lights and headlights. So yeah, quite a nice kit, and not very expensive either. Quite like the part where we've got the separate controller with all the wires feeding off it that you can mount inside your body. And yeah, quite happy with that. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.